Yep, that's me, John Lennon. You're probably wondering how I got into this sticky situation, so I'll tell you how it all went down.
I was helping a hurt dog up when all of a sudden a man pulled a gun out and was prepared to shoot me. But I had the brilliant idea to sing. I began to sing my famous song, Imagine, which, by the way, went platinum in the UK, and miraculously, he started to cry. He put the gun down and we hugged it out.
Wait, that's not how it went down.
Alright, well then you say how it went down.
So I was walking around and happened to see the John Lennon, the guy from the Beatles. I went up to get his autograph and we talked. My evil plan was beginning to unfold. So I stood by his house and waited for him to return home. When he did, I shot him in the back.
Yeah, that sounds more accurate.
Hey, you're supposed to be dead right now. Get back on the ground.
Alright. Hey, my glasses. I need to go out in style. Ah, there we go. The outpouring of grief, wonder, and shared devastation that followed Lennon's death had the same extent and intensity as the reaction to the killing of a world figure would. A bold and popular politician like John F. Kennedy or a spiritual leader like Martin Luther King Jr. But Lennon was a creature of poetic political strength. That was what made the impact and the difference, the shock of his imagination, the penetrating traces of his wisdom, and it was the loss of all that in a so abrupt and awful way that was mourned all over the world. My hair is so grody.
Try the new Aquanet hairspray. It makes your hair really big.
Really? Cool.
This formula holds your hair all day no matter what the weather. It gives you body and volume without being too sticky.
Good afternoon. I'm Princess Diana, Princess of Wales. But I wasn't born a princess. I was born July 1st, 1961 in the United Kingdom as Diana Spencer. When I was just 20 years old, I married Prince Charles, the heir to the British throne, on July 29th, 1981. The ceremony was broadcasted on TV around the world, with 750 million people tuning in to see what many called the wedding of the century. Just a year later, our first son was born in 1982. We named him Prince William Arthur Philip Louis. 2 years later, in 1984, we had another son, who we named Prince Henry Charles Albert David. I loved being a mum, but I was overwhelmed by world duties and intense media coverage of my life, and my marriage started to unravel. I started to develop an eating disorder as well, but instead of slipping into a deep depression, I soon realized I had my own interests I liked. I soon discovered that I had a passion for helping other people. Throughout my career, I used my platform to help other people and became the president of over 100 charities. The charity most dear to my heart was working with AIDS and HIV-positive patients. Back then, there was still a lack of education on how AIDS was contracted, and many people believed that AIDS was contagious through casual contact, but I wasn't afraid. Some people say I helped remove the stigma associated with AIDS. By supporting the causes of AIDS, I am credited as beginning the public conversation about AIDS as an epidemic. In August of 1997, I was visiting Paris with my boyfriend Dodi Fayed when we were being chased by paparazzi. Our car crashed into a tunnel. Fayed, the driver, and myself were killed. And even though my life ended in tragedy, my humanitarian efforts helped millions of people, and I will always be remembered as the people's princess.
beloveds, we are gathered here in the sight of God and in the face of this congregation to join together this man and woman in holy matrimony. Charles Philip Arthur George, wilt thou have this woman to thy wedded wife? Wilt thou love her, comfort her, honor and keep her in sickness and in health, so long as you shall live?
I will.
Diana Francis, wilt thou have this man to thy wedded husband, to live together according to God's law in the holy state of matrimony? Wilt thou love him, comfort him, honor and keep him in sickness and in health, as long as you both shall live?
I will.
I,
Princess
Charles
Diana
Philip
and Prince
Arthur
Charles'
George,
wedding was significant because a global television audience of over
take thus
750
Diana
million
Francis.
people tuned in to watch.
Take
They were
me,
also the
Diana
first couple to
Francis,
break royal protocol. Not only did
to
she
my wedded
pick
wife,
out her own engagement ring, Diana wrote her
to
own
have and to
vows and
hold
chose
from
to
this day
abandon the
forward,
royal wedding tradition of saying she would obey
better
Prince
or for
Charles.
worse,
She was surely a catalyst for
richer for
change
poor,
because 3 decades later, Duke
in
William and
sickness and in
Duchess
health,
Kate followed her lead.
Hey Coke fans, today we have some very exciting news. Coke has just released a new, refreshing formula, and we're gonna hit the streets to see how America likes it. You there! Come taste a sip of this Coke and see how you like it.
It's amazing.
See? America loves the new Coke.
The Iran-Contra affair was a U.S. political scandal in which the National Security Council became involved in secret weapon transactions and other activities that were either prohibited by the U.S. Congress or violated the stated public policy of the government. The background to this scandal lay in President Ronald Reagan's concentration with the spread of communism, in particular Central America. In 1979, the Sandinista Liberation Movement in Nicaragua had overthrown the dictatorship of President Anastasio Somoza Debayle, whereupon Reagan became convinced that the presence of an actively left-wing regime in that country would spark revolution throughout the region and threaten the security of the U.S. To combat this possibility, his administration put massive amounts of military aid into a number of governments in Central America that were troubled by civil war and guerrilla fighting. In the case of Nicaragua, the focus was on destabilizing the government and engineering the overthrow of the Marxist-oriented Sandinista regime. Military aid was channeled to militia groups, the Contras, fighting to achieve this end. The American public, however, grew increasingly opposed to such funding, and when Congress passed a law banning it, the White House resorted to convert means to continue its support. There was a Middle East component of this policy as well. In early 1985, the head of the NSC, Robert C. McFarlane, undertook the sale of anti-tank and anti-aircraft missiles to Iran in the mistaken belief that such a sale would secure the release of a number of American citizens who were being held captive in Lebanon by terrorist groups loyal to Iran. This and several weapons sales to Iran in 1986 directly contradicted the U.S. government's publicly stated policy of refusing either to bargain with terrorists or to aid Iran in its war with Iraq, a policy based on the belief that Iran was the sponsor of international terrorism. A portion of the $48 million that Iran paid for the arms was diverted by the NSC and given to the Contras, battling the Sandinista government of Nicaragua. The transfers were undertaken by NSC staff member Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, with the approval of McFarlane's successor as head of the NSC, Rear Admiral John M. Poindexter. North and his associates also raised private funds for the Contras. These activities violated the Bolin Amendment, a law passed by Congress in 1984 that banned direct or indirect U.S. military aid to the Contras. The NSC's illegal activities came to light in November of 1986 and aroused an immediate public uproar. The Reagan administration was forced to admit that it covertly continued to fund the Contras by means of arms sales to Iran, which were themselves illegal and in breach of a trade embargo against that country. North claimed that both Reagan and his vice president, George Bush, had known about the covert operations, though both denied any knowledge of the details and no evidence was ever brought linking them to any wrongdoing. Poindexter and North lost their jobs and were prosecuted. President Ronald Reagan's public image was tarnished. Moreover, the affair raised serious questions about the power of the executive branch of government and the extent and effectiveness of Congress's oversight of foreign affairs.
Hi, this is Christy Johnson reporting live from Cape Canaveral. We're just a few miles away. We're getting ready on this historic day to watch the Space Shuttle Challenger blast off in space. This is January 28th, 1986. We're excited because on board is Christy McCullough. She is a teacher who competed with over 11,000 other teachers for just one spot. So we're excited to see this historic day. Let's go back to Master Control and listen in.
We copy. This is Master Control at NASA. We are T-minus 2 minutes. Please indicate all crew members are ready to launch.
Master Control, this is Challenger preparing for takeoff.
We are ready and prepared to launch.
Krista, do you have your lesson plans on board for your projects?
I sure do. I have my experiments ready too, and the video cameras are ready so I can check in with students from space each day and give them a tour of the shuttle.
And I want to give a shout out back to all my family and friends in Akron, Ohio.
We will make sure they get the message, Judith. T-minus 30 seconds. Please check all fuel systems are go.
Check.
Everything looks good.
Prepare for takeoff in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff!
Ah!
Altitude and velocity are 35,000 feet, 1.5 Mach speed. Throttle up to 104%, maximum dynamic pressure.
Looks like we've got a lot of wind here today.
It's a little hard to see out my window. Uh-oh.
We've lost all data. Flight controller here looking very carefully at the situation. Obviously a major malfunction.
Once again, this is Christy Johnson reporting live from Cape Canaveral, Florida, where we have just witnessed the Space Shuttle Challenger explode just 73 seconds after takeoff. All 7 astronauts on board were killed instantly. No doubt there will be a massive investigation to determine what went so tragically wrong.
The whole country and the whole world were in shock when the Challenger shuttle exploded because it was the first time the United States had actually lost a space vehicle with crew on board. Also, the Challenger disaster claimed the lives of 7 people: Commander Francis Scobie, pilot Mike Smith, mission specialists Judith Resnick, Ron McNair, and Ellen Ozuka, and the payload specialists McAuliffe and Greg Jarvis. They are still missed today, 3 decades later. The Chernobyl nuclear blast occurred on April 25 to 26, 1986. The event happened during a night safety test which triggered a station blackout power failure, in which safety systems were powered off to begin with. The accident was caused by design flaws. This has caused a big fire and a steam explosion. This caused 2 deaths within the facility, and 134 servicemen were hospitalized in the upcoming weeks due to radiation poisoning. Over 22,000 people had to be evacuated from their homes to avoid contracting radiation sickness. The Chernobyl disaster is considered the most disastrous nuclear power plant in history. It was one of the 2 classified as a level 7 in an international nuclear event scale, the other being the Fukushima Daiichi accident in Japan 2011. Hello, my name is Ronald Reagan. I was born on February 6, 1911. My life was sort of interesting before I became the 40th president of the United States. As a teen, I worked as a lifeguard at Rock River near Dixon. I was credited with saving 77 struggling, drowning swimmers. I'm coming to get you! I played football at Eureka College in Illinois. I was the lineman. I spent the rest of my early career working at Warner Brothers Pictures with a 7-year contract as an actor in B-movies. I was recruited in the Army Enlisted Reserve in April 1937. I served as a 2nd lieutenant in the Officers Reserve Corps in May 1937. My biggest accomplishments, however, happened when I became the President of the United States of America. Gorbachev, tear down this wall! When I came into office, I reserved the policy of détente and stood firm against the Soviet Union, which eventually led to the end of the Cold War. Unfortunately, I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in November 1994. My public appearances became infrequent as my disease progressed. On June 5th, 2004, I died at my home. I may have gotten Alzheimer's disease and forgotten everything and everyone, but I hope you and America does not forget me.
And after the commercial break, we'll be talking about what color eyeshadow to wear to catch your husband's attention.
Hold on, we're getting breaking news reports that the Berlin Wall has just collapsed.
Oh no, how will they fix it?
No, Susan, the people of Berlin wanted it to go down. They purposely got hammers and bulldozers to knock it down so that East and West Berlin could come together again and the families could reunite.
Oh, cool beans.
We have a reporter on site that is going to give us the inside scoop on what's going on over there.
Thanks, Kelly. I'm here at what was formerly known as East Berlin, but is now just Berlin. As you can see, there's not much left of the wall, so a lot of celebrations and smiles going on here.
Wow, this is just amazing. Thousands of East Germans are flooding the gates of the Berlin Wall to the surprise of many guards who had not yet heard the news that their government has lifted its ban and is now allowing East Germans to freely pass into West Berlin, no visas required.
Berlin is no longer a divided city. On this historic day, November 9, 1989, the Iron Curtain is now torn apart.
The Berlin Wall falling is of great significance because for 30 years it was the defining symbol of the Cold War, separating families and keeping the people from jobs and opportunities in the West. In 1961, the communist government in East Germany built the wall to keep refugees from leaving their country and fleeing to West Germany, which was not communist. It was 12 feet high and more than 100 miles long. In all, at least 171 people were killed trying to get over, under, or around the Berlin Wall. The Berlin Wall stood until November 9, 1989, when the head of the East German Communist Party announced that citizens could cross the border whenever they pleased. That night, ecstatic crowds swarmed the wall. Some crossed freely into West Berlin, while others brought hammers and picks and began to chip away at the wall itself. To this day, the Berlin Wall remains one of the most powerful and enduring symbols of the Cold War.